I've always liked to dance since I was a child. Didn't have a lot of opportunity growing up, but wherever I could find it, I did find it. In 2005, I saw this show at Goodman Theater in Chicago, and it was this beautiful Spanish music. The whole production had different elements of Latin dance, and it was mesmerizing. It moved me to tears. I was like, oh my gosh, I would love to do that. It's 2009. I was planning to get married. It was a beautiful year. It was filled with a lot of anticipation, but I remember starting to feel headaches. One morning, I felt like a ton of bricks were in my head. I couldn't move my head. I felt like my head was going to burst. So I ended up going to the emergency room, and they saw this huge mass in my head. And I was quickly introduced to a surgeon. They had to go in and take it out as soon as possible. And I felt like a brand new person, so relieved. My head was so light. I mean, everything was amazing. In a week, I was meeting with my surgeon to take out the stitches. And then he told me, I'm sorry, it's a bad one. It's malignant. And it was devastating because I felt so good. I felt so opposite from the news that I got. I remember being very angry, very upset. You ruined my plans. I was going to go back to work and go back to normal. And then I realized, like, wow, I'm a cancer patient. Where do we go from here?
Pathology is a visual art. It's a place where you're able to take structure and make it look beautiful by basically looking at pieces of tissue in a microscope that are stained with dyes that give it beautiful color. And it allows you to appreciate how very small changes in structure can change the function of a tissue so that it can wreak havoc on a person's life. The ability to be able to see those structural changes and appreciate what they mean is something that I've always been fascinated by. Because it's so visual, it's an area where the most subtle changes are really something that you can learn to appreciate over time.
You want to find out everything immediately, fully knowing that's not possible. And the fact that they had to take such a long time and send it outside of state to figure out what is it that I have and what are my prognosis and how to treat me. Those days were definitely difficult. The weight, what it does, not just to us physiologically, but mentally and emotionally, it's like this tornado or burning fire that only a bit of good news can curb, and hearing any bit of good news helps along the way.
Pathology and architecture actually have a lot of similarities. From my perspective, they both involve looking at something and appreciating whether the structure is right for what the purpose is. And if there is something that's not right, what is wrong? And what does that mean? And is there a way to fix it? In both of them, there's a component that's visual, but there's also a component of needing to understand what the function is to be able to appreciate whether it's right or not. I've done a lot of relatively small projects in architectural design. Most of the work I've done has actually been for myself. Every house I've lived in has been something that I have either renovated or built. So I've never moved into a house that was actually ready and just lived there.
When I was going through treatments and it wasn't working, I stayed at home. You kind of become cocooned in this world. It became so scary. Like, I'm not ready to go out there. Sometimes it felt like I will never recover from this. How can I ever be a normal person again? And one day at a time, your story starts to change and transition into survivor, and you still little glimpses of the life can be normal again. I need a hobby. I need to do something. Instead of just go to work, come home, go to work, come home. Let me find something. I think of this show, and all I can think is flamenco, flamenco, flamenco. Flamenco made me feel alive again, like really fully alive. It's very cathartic. The only way to really do it is to pour yourself into it. There was a lot of growth that happened that made me feel alive and connected and happy, but a lot of personal challenges that I had to face. Show a lot of vulnerability and a lot of courage. I met all these wonderful friends that I've had for years now. It really brought me back to life, connected me with the world.
I've always focused on architecture as a hobby, mainly because I see things that other people probably don't even notice. That's probably why I'm also a good pathologist, because I see things when they shouldn't be there. But when I walk around a place and see things that are not where they should be, I have to fix it. The advent of digital pathology is revolutionizing the way we do pathology. We're able to take a biopsy. We're able to process it. We're able to embed it, cut it, stain it, digitize the slide, and have the right pathologist read it, all within less than 24 hours. This is something that was unheard of 20 years ago. Pathology really is the heart of medicine. It's the core of diagnostics. And any changes that we make to improve pathology impact every patient who's being seen from that day forward.